So he called in to Brian Kilmeade's show.
New York City that you've clashed with
Why is it so
before from
quiet?
afar. What do you expect when you meet him face to face?
Well, I don't really know. He's got a different philosophy. He's a little bit different. I give him a lot of credit for the run. He did a successful run, and we all know that runs are not easy.
Okay.
But I think we'll get along fine. Look, we're looking for the same thing. We want to make
It's quite quiet.
And, you know,
I've boosted the gain on it. Why is it so quiet? Let me see if I can boost a little bit more.
It's such a different philosophy, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know over the next year, Brian, okay?
So I know sometimes when you go to sit down with you, Mr. President, sometimes you'll whip out a list and you'll say, did you say this about me in the past? I know Pierce Morgan.
Yeah, that's a normal thing to do. What the fuck? What? I didn't know that. Here are the list of things you have to apologize for before we even could start this conversation. Is this the mob? Hello? What? Hey, no bad mouthing the bus. I agree to this sit down under one condition.
Morgan has said that. This is something that might be on your list that he said about you after he won, by the way. Cut 3.
This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
So it was a little bit of a in your face when a time he should usually, after a victory speech, be kind of magnanimous. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I was hitting him a little hard, too, in all fairness. I was, hard to be totally friendly toward the opponent. You know, his opponent wasn't. He had some interesting opponents. But he ran a good race. I don't know exactly what he means by turn the volume up, because turn the volume up, he has to be careful when he says that to me. But nobody really was able. I said, what does that mean, turn the volume up? Does that mean let's go at it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean,
He's obviously telling you to listen to him. Oh, come on.
He was very nice in calling, as you know, and we're going to have a meeting. I guess we meet at 3 o'clock today. And I think it's going to be quite civil. We'll find out. You'll be the first to know.
I know. We'll see it at 3 o'clock. Will you open up the doors to the press after?
I think so. I mean, it's fine with me. I would think so. He's a politician, so I don't think he has a problem. The one thing I notice about politicians, the answer is always yes, other than with Biden.
So
Okay.
one thing he did
Biden
say.
didn't open up doors to his brain.
There's one thing he does say that probably won't be great. He says, I never go back to the days when Eric Adams would go on national television and open the door for the NYPD handling civil immigration enforcement.
What is this sliding concrete sound? Do you hear this?
And open the door for the NYPD handling civil immigration
Oh, it's Trump
enforcement.
breathing into the
Doesn't expect
microphone.
cooperation between the NYPD and ICE. That's got to be disappointing.
Well, we're going to be talking about it. I just can't imagine that where you have hardcore criminals. And this is about criminals. You know, you can make a case the other way, having to do with others. But, you know, when you have a murderer, when you have a known murderer, a known rapist, a known whatever it is, drug dealers all over the place, I can't imagine that anybody wants to keep them. But I'll have that discussion with them today, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll talk about immigration a little bit later, but I also want to talk about something else that matters a lot, and that's that tape that those veterans and Elise Slotkin put out talking about urging, I guess, or reminding our...
What do we think? Is this going to be a normal, happy thing where, you know, Trump is pretty reasonable and it's like, hey, look, you know, I don't think we're doing anything illegal. Obviously, our service members have the rights to refuse anything illegal. Or
troops that they don't have to obey orders. Listen to a little of it.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
So you get the spirit of it. Your reaction was pretty direct. This is really bad and dangerous to our country. The words cannot be allowed to
that was his reaction. Brian.
to stand seditious behavior from traitors, and you wanted to say punishable by death. So
There you go.
people thought that you were saying death to those politicians. What were you saying?
Well, if you look at sedition, if you look at that type of, it's a very strong form of being a traitor. That's a terrible thing to say. I must tell you, I heard it, and I thought it was some kind of a comedy situation. I thought they would, it was some kind of a skit, and because I couldn't believe that they'd say it. And I watched Democrat congressmen and one Democrat senator yesterday on one of the shows. Didn't even want to discuss it. They said, "Whoa, don't get me into that one." They didn't want to get into it. That is a really serious charge. I'll tell you what they said is, and it was, I mean, I don't know about the modern day things because, modern day is a lot softer. But in the old days, if you said a thing like that, that was punishable by death.
Yeah.
When was the... I guess I'll do a fact check on the side here of what the founders thought on disobeying orders.
You're not threatening them. A lot of people are interpreting there's a threat and there's security.
Well, I'm not threatening them, but I think they're in serious trouble. I would say they're in serious trouble. I'm not threatening death, but I think they're in serious trouble. In the old days, it was death.
Do you worry, Mr.
That was
President?
seditious behavior.
Do you worry
that was a big deal.
Do you worry
Today,
that...
Brian, just let the guy talk.
Nothing's a big deal. Today's a different world. Okay, it's a softer, it's a meeker, milder world. But I will say this: I think what they did is really bad. The hatred is pretty strong. But what they say, essentially, don't follow the orders of the President of the United States.
No, that is not what they said. They said, we're skirting the line right now. Just a heads up, you don't have to obey illegal orders. Pretty fucking reasonable.
So,
to the military?
Do you worry that some of your guys are going to say no?
Young privates and young corporals and young sergeants, and they're not scholars necessarily. There might be a few, frankly, but they're not scholars. They don't study the Constitution, et cetera, et cetera. They know that. So these are people. These are bad people. These are people that, in my opinion, broke the law. Now, what happens to them, I can't tell you, but they broke the law. That is a terrible.
So even in the Articles of War, 1775 and 1776, the Articles of War were extremely strict, reflecting the need for discipline in a revolutionary army. They stipulated that any soldier who shall disobey any lawful command of his superior officer shall suffer death. Yeah, that's what they did in the time. But they did explicitly mention a lawful command. So... it seems like they kind of built in that if you disobey an unlawful command, it's not punishable by death.
Terrible statement. I can say if I ever said that and there were a Democrat as president, all hell would have broken loose. And it has broken loose. I have had more calls from people, even Democrats, saying what a horrible thing that was.
Who?
Do you worry that someone on the Gerald R. Ford will say, "Hey, I don't want to do this Venezuelan mission. I don't want to sit out in the ocean. I'm out." Do you worry about them saying, "I don't want to go to Chicago and be in the National Guard. I'm out." Do you worry about that?
No, I don't worry about anything like that because I'm a leader, and they do as they say. But it certainly is not a good situation. It could happen with certain leaders. It could happen. I don't think that happened with me, but you never know. Look, that was a very terrible. That was a traitorous statement. That was a horrible thing to do. I believe they broke the law very strongly. I think it's a very
by advocating that they follow the law.
I think it's a very serious violation of the law. Yeah.
I know Todd Blanche seems to be looking into it. Your assistant deputy, or your
well,
deputy.
I think
attorney
Pete Hegseth is looking into it too. I know they're looking into it militarily. I don't know for a fact, but I think the military is looking into it. The military courts.
Mr. President, this week there's a lot of stories about the FBI investigation into Thomas Crooks. And Miranda Devine had a source that said that he had a huge social media footprint, and that he was mischaracterized by the former FBI director and his deputy, saying it was just anti-Semitic. it was beginning, according to the social media reports, if they're posting, if they're correct. In the beginning, they were pro-you. At the end, it was anti-Trump. And they have a few threats on about Fox, too.
All right, I can't add much to
Are
this. I don't
you
really
currently
know.
happy with the investigation into crooks that your FBI is doing?
Oh, that was crooks.
Well, I wasn't happy with Christopher Wray, and I wasn't happy with that whole situation with him. But I do have confidence in Cash, a lot of confidence, and the DOJ, and they are giving me reports, and their reports are seeming to balance out. So I have confidence in these people. I didn't have confidence in Christopher Wray. I thought Christopher Wray was not good at the job he did.
So in other words, Miranda Devine said over the weekend that you weren't confident, and Eric seemed upset. But for the most part, you feel as though you're fully briefed if crooks had international ties.
Well, I wasn't confident with Christopher Wray, but in this group, it's a different group, and it's Cash as opposed to Christopher Wray, and I have confidence in Cash.
Healthcare. I know, just like the war in Gaza and Ukraine, you inherited it. Obama.
Oh my God. They're basting him. Is that a term we can use for pre-glazing? They're basting him.
Care is not affordable. The deductibles are roughly $6,000, but a lot of your voters are stuck with it, and they're saying if I can't afford my health care, it seems like Republicans like Katie Britt and Senator Cassidy and Tillis are saying, Mr. President, let's do something with the subsidies. Let's try to help people out. Are you going to start working in a bipartisan way?
Yeah, we do. We have something where instead of the insurance companies getting the money, they're making billions and billions of dollars, and it's lousy health care. They call it the Unaffordable Care Act, right? It is the Unaffordable Care Act. And I always...
For the millionth time, if you force everyone to negotiate as an individual, you take away all the power from collective bargaining. Okay? Simple as that.
I said that. I said, this thing's going to explode. It's no good. And it is exploding, and it's unacceptable. It's too expensive for people. It's no good for the country, but it's worse for the people. It's lousy health care. And I want to give the money that we give to the insurance companies directly to the people, let the people buy their own health insurance, and that's what's going to happen. I believe that there's good support on both sides for that. And Katie's working on it. A lot of people are working on it. Rick Scott is working on it. Many, many senators are working on it. And, we have a January 30th date coming up.
And this is in lieu of subsidies? Like, it's incoherent. Like, obviously it's an incoherent policy. The Republicans don't care about health care at all.
I'd like to see if we could do it by then. They're saying, well, let's go another year. And I said, let's see if we can get it done by January 30th. So there are a lot of people, including Democrats, that are working on this. Basically, taking your money, not giving the insurance, let their stock go down. Who the hell cares? They've made a fortune on this. Obama, what he handed to the insurance company, and I said it from the beginning. I said, this is an insurance company scam. And it's a scam against the people.
And what are the people going to be buying with that $2,000, man?
People. And we don't give the money to the insurance company. We give the money directly to the people, and they buy their health insurance. It's a great...
But he said it! He didn't... Oh, my God. It's...
Right.
And fairly... it's a very complex subject, but it's fairly... We've made it a lot less complex. You'd get better...
They've dumbed it down for you. Oh, my
health
God.
insurance, and you'd save a lot of money.
So Senator Cassidy agrees with you. He's an expert, a former doctor, and Rick Scott, I understand it. So in other words, for people listening right now, many of which voted for you, some didn't, that are just concerned about their bills, you're going to do something to help them.
Yep.
That's
Oh my
good.
God, and they have to water it down even further for Fox's audience. It's insane. How is this the #1 cable news program?
Do a lot, not something. We're going to do a lot. We're going to get there. We're going to give them better health insurance for less money. Let me put it very simply. Better health insurance for less money.
The best thing ever, always. There's never a drawback.
Venezuela, you have this unprecedented buildup in our hemisphere. It's the Monroe Doctrine in 2026. They're calling it the Donroe Doctrine. And you basically said, I'll speak to Maduro. He reached out through emissaries or directly. When you speak to him, Is the message simply you have to go? Is there any scenario where he stays in power?
Brian, look, you are somebody I have a lot of respect for. Everybody respects you, and congratulations on your success. You're a hard worker, and you do a great job.
Where's
you're
this
a
at?
friend. I'm not allowed to say that, but you're a friend of mine. You're a great guy, but I can't tell you that, Brian. I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to tell him.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. The question was...
Worker, and you do everybody respects you. And
Power? Is the message simply you have to go? Is there any scenario where he stays in power?
Congratulations.
That's a reasonable thing to ask. If you're asking our soldiers to potentially go to war, it's nice to know what the fucking goal is.
On your success, you're a hard worker, and you do a great job. And you're a friend. I'm not allowed to say that, but you're a friend of mine. You're a great guy, but I can't tell you that, Brent. I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to tell him.
Okay.
I just don't do that. Maybe other politicians do. I can't do that. And then they prepare for that, or unless they want to send a mixed signal, and I don't like lying. But, no, I can't tell you what I'm going to tell them, but I have something very specific to say. Look, what they did, drugs are horrendous, and, they're one. But you also have Mexico, you have Colombia. Colombia is horrible in the drug situation. I mean, they have cocaine plants where they make cocaine. It's horrible. Colombia is horrible, and we're going to deal with that. We're dealing with it all. We're dealing with things that nobody else ever even thought to think about. And it would be a lot easier not to do it, but not really, because it's destroying a big chunk of our country. When you look at the death and destruction and the family, what happens to a family with kids that get hooked, and not only kids, parents get hooked too. Everyone, the numbers are unbelievable. I think we lost last year 200,000 people.
Yeah,
that's death. But when you multiply that times 3 or 4 for the people that are affected, the parents, the brothers, the sisters, it's a terrible situation. And Venezuela is a big part of it. But Venezuela did one thing that nobody else did to that extent. They emptied their prisons into our country. Tren de Aragua, the gang, their prisons were emptied into the U.S. Empty.
Right. And Mr. President,
and
don't you think the message to Mandami?
And we're bringing them back, but they're not getting away with that.
Yeah, the message to Mandami is if you want socialism, look at Venezuela. It doesn't work. The other thing, that the Colombia president came out and said...
It's just... Oh, man. It's funny. It's just funny.
Maduro should go. I was kind of shocked at that because you're sparring with the Colombia president who's up for election. So maybe there's some support in the region for him to do what Aristide did from Haiti and get out. And I'm sure there's a bunk bed available with Assad somewhere in Russia as long as he leaves, because you have a rightful government that won an election and can't take power because they don't have control of the army.
Yeah, well, we're going to see, and we're going to be very much involved, and I'll be speaking.
Too high level for this man, Brian.
In the future, but I can't tell you what I'm going to be saying.
So let's talk about Ukraine. I totally understand it. A 28-point plan has been out there. There's a report that you gave to Zelensky until next Thursday.
Yeah, so this is... Ukraine will have to give up land that they haven't lost, I think, around the Donbass. And there's like a cash for land scheme, and it bars them from joining NATO, limits their troops. Dude, like, why is it so fucking friendly to Putin?
Thursday to essentially agree to it. He is saying all the right things. He's open to it. He's meeting with Dan Driscoll, your Secretary of the Army. But some of the points on there that are, I guess everything's in flux until it's done. No one has to tell you about a deal. It looks like Ukraine has to cut their personnel to 600,000. It looks like they got to give up some land that they have not lost in the war. They cannot join NATO.
They will lose in a short period of time.
Oh, yo, chill. He was actually just talking to Putin, and Putin's like, "We will get." I feel like there's something very disgusting about hearing him say that.
Lost in the war. They cannot join NATO.
They will lose in a short period of time.
They have not lost in the war. They cannot join NATO.
They will lose in a short period of time.
It's like chuckling.
The whole of Donbass.
They're losing land.
So
we're in it for one thing. We want the killing.
Yeah, because you want the easiest possible option, right? The right thing for our country to do is support Ukraine no matter what. To fight, even if it were to be a losing battle, it would be to support them through that losing battle. That would be the right thing to do. But Trump wants the easiest possible thing. He wants the weakest deals just to say that he got them. He wants the least pressure, least stress around it. That's why he's really afraid of pushing on Putin and just really only applying his pressure to Zelensky. It's just crazy.
You know, they lost 25,000 people last month between the two countries. 25,000 people. It's out of control. It's a bloodbath. Remember the famous word, bloodbath?
Right.
Remember when they tried to make that an interesting?
But you know that if you don't stop him in Ukraine, he's going to have problem. They're going to be another. The Baltics are going to be in trouble.
Well, they'll be stopped. He's not looking for more war. He's taking
How do you know?
Say what you want. I mean, this was supposed to be a one-day war that ended 4 years now. Okay, but in all fairness, we gave them the best military.
Why are we trying to be fair to Russia? What is this?
We make the best equipment in the world. We gave you.
It's like, well, Russia was supposed to take all this land, but let's be fair to Russia. We gave Ukraine a dribble of support throughout this war, so let's not be too harsh on Russia here. Yo? Who's our adversary again?
Ukraine the best military equipment anywhere in the world. Nobody makes.
Fuck being fair to Russia. I want to be the least charitable motherfucker.
And say what you want. They were very brave. Do you agree with that?
They're
very
great fighters. They're great fighters.
Right.
And the other thing, Mr. President, you're not pulling off the sanctions while you wait on the 28-point plan, because it seems like every time you do, Vladimir Putin wants you to stop
We have very
that.
strong sanctions.
So they go in today, don't they? Against Lukoil,
They go in very soon, and they're very powerful. Very powerful. I mean, it makes it very hard to sell oil.
Sanctions are good. Support of the sanctions, obviously.
The whole economy is based on oil. But no, I'm not doing anything having to do with taking back sanctions.
All right, understood. So is next Thursday the deadline that you gave, a loose deadline for Ukraine?
Well, we have, I've had a lot of deadlines, but if things are working well, you can't extend the deadlines. We think at appropriate times.
So today we find out that 52 more Christians were kidnapped from their school in Nigeria, and they're being held for $100 million ransom. What do you say to people who think that this is not an urgent situation and there needs to be acted on? What's your answer to those critics?
I think Nigeria is a disgrace. The whole thing is a disgrace. They're killing people by the thousands. It's a genocide, and I'm really angry.
I don't know enough about the Nigeria situation.
We give a lot of subsidy to Nigeria. We're going to end up stopping. The government's done nothing. They're very ineffective. They're killing Christians at will. And, until I got involved in it 2 weeks ago, nobody even talked about it. The New York Times doesn't write stories about it. Nobody writes stories about it. They're killing people, hundreds of thousands of people. And the New York Times and all that garbage that people read, that are forced to read, they write all garbage, the most dishonest group of people. But when you look at it,
what?
They don't. Can you imagine? They don't even cover it. They hardly cover a story like this. It's like, I don't even know if they cover it at all. But not only them, others. When you look at the lack of coverage, and yet
the question was about Nigeria.
Other things that are totally unimportant get massive coverage. It's disgraceful. What's happening in Nigeria is
I guess there's probably a lack of coverage about what's happening in Nigeria, but I don't.
A disgrace.
I doubt Trump knew about it before. What was it? There was some celebrity that was talking about it. I don't think anybody. Well, not nobody.
Your UN ambassador got something I haven't seen before. Mike Waltz, 15-0. The UN has signed off. The Security Council signed off on the Trump peace plan in Gaza. I read that they've set up.
I am so curious to hear the rationales for that, because that peace plan for Gaza is it's definitely shaky. It doesn't give the Palestinians a state or a guarantee of a path to statehood. It says it's potentially maybe. It calls on Hamas to disarm, which Hamas isn't going to. I feel like neither of them really want this because Netanyahu doesn't even like the language about there being a potential path to statehood. Obviously, Gaza and Hamas doesn't want to disarm. I don't know how this holds.
Unit in a warehouse. The first floor is Israelis. The second floor is us, as well as international representation from Egypt and Qatar. And they're working on bringing peace to the area. But Hamas says they're not putting down their weapons. What could you do to get us to phase 2 in this effort to have peace?
Well, we're going to see. Let's take a look at Hamas, what they do, because we just started that process. Let's see what happens. I will say this. We have now peace in the Middle East. We have countries signed on. We have so many countries that are signed on. In fact, it changes every single day. Countries are being added. There's never been a time like this in the Middle East. You have peace in the Middle East. Now, you have Hamas.
Like, yeah, he doesn't want to. He wants to declare victory before this one giant glaring issue is even addressed.
Which has been, beaten very badly. You have Iran, which has been beaten very badly, and their nuclear capability taken away, and they want to make a deal, and we probably will make a deal with Iran. But you have peace for the first time in the Middle East. You have real peace in the Middle East. You have Hezbollah with Lebanon, which is not good, but that's a relatively small situation, not a good situation, but small. But you had things. 1 year ago, you had nuclear weapons. You had Iran was, boasting about how strong they were. This is a totally different Middle East right now, and you have countries that want to make peace as opposed to countries that had no idea of making peace. We've taken a big dark cloud off of the Middle East by bringing Iran back down to size.
Understood. And lastly, Mr. President, what do you say to people who see the rise of AI? And they say, my goodness, we saw that Amazon cut back 9,000 jobs, not because of performance, but because they got automated, they got robots, and they are able to AI and be more efficient. What do you say to people who are nervous about AI and think it's going to be the end of their jobs, their occupation, their living?
He's going to say that we're the #1 in AI or some shit like that.
Well, what's going to happen is economies will get so much bigger that you'll have tremendous numbers of jobs, including the making of AI itself. We have plants that are being built in this country.
Yep, of course.
AI, artificial intelligence. I never liked the idea with the word artificial, but that's what they call it, so let them call it. We have the biggest plants in the world being built. So people have to build those plants. People have to operate the plants. People have to do a lot. What's happening is from our standpoint, I can tell you as a country, our country is getting much bigger, much wealthier. We have $20 trillion being invested.
Yeah, his response actually was just, what are you saying about people that are worried they'll lose their jobs with AI? Well, we have the best AI. Essentially, go fuck yourself.
Well, if you took a look at past years, but if you go back just to Biden, they had substantially less than $1 trillion over 4 years. I have $20 trillion in 1 year. It'll be about $20 trillion in 1 year. A record. No other country ever in history has done that. All of that money, much of it goes toward jobs. So, yes, I agree with you. It'll make things more efficient, but it'll also make things much bigger. It's going to level out beautifully.
And Mr. President, I can't thank you enough for the loyalties of the show, but the first time I ever interviewed you, I was at Sports Phone, the lowest rung of media, and you were promoting the Alex Stewart-Tyson fight. And when I went up to talk to you, I've had Yankees and other Major League Baseball players just walk past my mic flag. You actually talked to me before Warner Wolf. So I go, this guy, and you were one of those famous guys in New York. And I said, he's a great guy. And because you care about the average person and you showed me that respect. And I walked back with this great interview with Donald Trump, the promoter.
What is
and
this?
I'll never forget it. So thanks so much for your time then and now.
Well, maybe I spotted talent. Maybe I saw you and you're a young guy, nice, handsome guy. And maybe I said, this guy's got a big future. I better be nice to him. And I was right. See that? So maybe I didn't do it for myself. Maybe I really did something that I spotted great talent. Look how well you've done. So I'm very proud of you. You've done a great job.
And I think you've done well for yourself, too. Two-term president.
Oh.
I've done okay. But we watch each other.
Absolutely.
That's very nice.
Hey, Mr. President, I'll see you today at 3 o'clock. I look forward to it. Thanks so much.
Very
appreciate
good.
it.
Thank you very much.
Something about that fell off.